I will show you probably too many projects, but just turn off the mic when 45 minutes is gone, so I will stop. We have projects more or less all over the world, and that is because we do competitions. And we are a very lucky company which are invited to most of them. So we compete also. I mean, invitations are important, and then you have to compete to come to the short list, and then you compete to get on the shortest list, and then you compete to get on the design list, and then you have to win the design, and when you have won the design, you have to win the contract. You know, so this is from one competition to the other. It's a long line of things. This company, in 1987, shared a space. The space was called SNØHETTA. It was not a company. 1989, they decided together to do the competition of the new library in Alexandria. And this was a huge competition where all the famous architects of the world was joining in. 600 entries, and SNØHETTA delivered an entry in the spring of '89. After the summer, they received a call from Egypt being told that they had won the competition. And pretty unusual because they came right out of school. It was their first competition, no projects built. Actually, this was the first project. And the inspiration came from the first chip, computer chip. And as you can see, the similarities is quite similar. I will show you a very short video of the project. Enjoy. The project, I worked in the project for 13 years, and that shows also that architecture is a slow process. You know, we won the competition in '89. The contract was signed in '93. 4 years on the phone. And without the support of the Norwegian government, and that shows that, you know, the foreign ministry engaged itself into this project because it was a special interest of Egypt at the time. And being, you know, fresh young architects, the client didn't really want to give us the $1 million contract because we hadn't done anything before. They wanted experience, and they couldn't get it from us. But in the end, the Prime Minister, Gro Harlem Brundtland, guaranteed that we would do a great job. So then the Egyptian government accepted it. And it's there for everyone to go and see. I think this is still the 7th biggest library in the world. It's the biggest reading room in the world. And I think it's also one of the biggest art pieces, the wall, in the world. So it's still there, and it's well kept, and one of the most visited sites in Egypt still. And it gave SNØHETTA a status around the world immediately. So just because of this one project, we were invited to a lot of others, and we were given a lot of prizes because of this work also. So it was a really, really good project for us. Nearly 10 years later, we won another competition in Oslo, the Oslo Opera and Ballet House, which was an open competition as the library in Alexandria. In between, we were nearly bankrupt because we didn't win nearly any competition, so it was about time to win a new one. And you know, this was a very interesting concept because we were actually disappointed because the government had bought land from the city, and they bought a really small site for a large program, you know, typical government. They thought it was smart to have a small one, so we decided to just lift the whole site and put an opera house under and give the whole site back to the public. So that is the reason why it looks like it does. Inside, it's a perfect opera house. It's actually something we ordered from London. There's this company that delivers, you know, the perfect opera house for operas, and it's an old-fashioned project where you design furniture, doors, all the fittings, everything is like the opera now. Like the library in Alexandria. So everything is special made. Also, this opera house has all their workshops here, and all the exercise is also happening in the same house. This is what it's all about, of course. What's happening on stage? A lot of artwork. This is the stage carpet. It looks like metal, but it's not. It's woven, and there's no silver threads here. It's just ordinary cotton, but it's woven, and it's designed by the American artist Pay White, and it looks just fabulous and extraordinary. This is the big hall where you have 1,500 seats, and this is what happens on stage. And that's why people come there, to see ballet and to see opera. The very special thing about this house is that you can walk on the roof, and not only walk. When this picture was taken, we had a show inside, but there was a big screen outside, so 8,000 people was looking at the same show outside for free. You know, so someone was paying tickets, sitting inside, like you are doing here. You are here for free, but that's okay. But these 8,000 people are looking at the same opera as the others. Another good thing with this house is that you can actually enjoy the the scenery. You can climb the opera, so to speak. That's the best thing Norwegians like to do, go in nature, especially when it's in the middle of town. And it's for all ages going here. And you can also, because this is a piece of art, it's not architecture, so it's not, the building code is not valid here. The whole thing is a piece of art, so you go there on your own responsibility. And you can do whatever you want. You can fish from this house, and you can also, you see here, not very many people, but there's always a lot of people here. Most people go to the opera house on it, not in it. And you can also go there by night, or you can do like this Frenchman, enjoy it like this. It's not to recommend because it's illegal, but someone do it anyway. The same with this project, it gave us additional prizes. It's not the most winning project we have, but again, it's important with prizes. Now I will just show a few pictures about something that shouldn't happen. You know, suddenly we had a site in New York, 2001, which was never to happen. This was the site, you probably all know it, and it was devastating for everyone. I was there not very long after, and it was horrible, you know, horrible, it was unbelievable. But anyway, it was, of course, cleaned and made ready for a huge development. This is how, after a long time of negotiations with the people which lost their loved ones here, so it changed. So the commercial towers became sort of the framework of the memorial park. And SNØHETTA has this tiny little thing in the middle between the two big waterfalls. And the park is to remember the nearly 3,000 that lost their lives on this site. And we designed the entrance to the Memorial Museum in New York. And it's for everyone now to visit. And I think actually the project developed in a good way, making us remember what happened and everyone that lost their lives in this devastating terror happening. When we won this competition, which was not a design competition, we had done competitions in the US for 10 years, losing. 10 years of losing competitions in the US. And we decided long before this that we should never do anything there again. But we did. And after winning Ground Zero, we won a lot of competitions. So presence again is key. This is Times Square. SNØHETTA, a Norwegian company, changed Times Square from a car mess to a little bit more friendly place for people. So actually Broadway was closed off. Quite large, big chunk of Broadway was closed off. So 300,000 people, which is here every day, will enjoy it a lot more. I moved to the next American project, SF MoMA, and a small video from the competition. actually a quite large expansion of the San Francisco Modern Museum made by Mario Botta in the 80s. So now it's the biggest modern museum in the States. It will be beaten by the Modern Museum in New York soon, but I think still it's the biggest one. And it's not actually, I recommend you to go there not only because of architecture, but they have a fabulous art collection coming mainly from the Fisher family. And there's great pieces of art spread out on 7 floors, and you will really enjoy a visit to this place. I will show you some really large projects before I end my speech with some smaller ones. Because of the Alexandria Library, we have been invited to quite a few projects in the Middle East. And the Middle East is a region where there's a lot of diversity and challenges. And when Saudi Aramco, the oil company in Saudi Arabia, came to us and asked if we wanted to join the competition for their anniversary building, we were skeptical, because we were skeptical to the system of Saudi Arabia, and we were not sure about doing it at all. But then we decided to do it, and again we won the competition, and we had this idea of using the Roman arch as the concept for this, because we thought it explained really well that everyone is equally important. If you remove any of these stones, the whole thing will fall apart. And actually the client enjoyed this idea. It's man, it's woman, it's different religions, it's rich, it's poor, it's anything. If you take away one piece, it collapses. So the design was made in that term, and it's a very unusual building, and it's large. It's 90,000 square meters, the same size as the library in Alexandria, and the idea was also a little bit the same, even though the design is really different. And I think this explains really well that projects from SNØHETTA is not design, it's attitude. And I think the attitude and the values that are put into the projects means the most. The reason why this project is established at all is this thing down at the right side there. It's Lucky Well number 1. This is actually the place where they found their first oil in Saudi Arabia. So they are celebrating their 75th year of finding the oil. And it's a large project in the middle of the desert in Daran, and also a lot of sustainable and environmental issues is brought into this project. And this is how it looked in the project, with the oasis and gardens, and the program is museums, concert halls, cinemas, and so it's a cultural building. And we had many ideas of how to do the cladding, and we came up with this because it's a cooling system and it's pipes. It didn't end up like the cooling system, but it ended up as the cladding system. And this is during construction, and it's tubes, steel tubes through the whole project, and it's combined with earth, local technique on the right hand side. You can see here it's stamped together with the pipes. We hope this will open soon. It's been delayed quite a few times. Difficult project, but quite interesting. I will now move very quickly to South Korea and a competition we won, the Opera House in Busan. I'll show you a really quick video of it.
Am I blind? time and on. Oh, let it unfold. I won't leave it untold. The feeling goes on and on and on. In my head, you tell me things you've never said, and I choose to forget. I take the good and leave the rest. Oh, the illusions getting old, and you don't answer when I call. I would have given you it all. Oh, out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't mean you're not mine. The feeling goes on and on and on.
The work drawings are made as we speak, more or less, and some of you probably saw the similarities to the Oslo Opera House, and we have to admit that the client was very inspired by that opera house, and it's more or less the same situation by the sea, and it's also the same program, more or less, so similarities will always happen. I wanted to bring this project, which is a loss. I mean, we didn't win because this was a competition about a city. But we didn't win the city. And then the client asked us to make a huge development in front of the city. You don't see the city here. And he wanted to have a gateway to his city. And this project, more or less, don't happen anymore. But this is, you know, I would say the craziness of architecture sometimes, where a client comes and wants something really special. This is the biggest producer of porcelain tiles in the world, and they wanted to use porcelain and all kinds of modern techniques to have this development going on in the desert. And again, what you do in a place where there is nothing, you know, there's nothing to put together with this. So you think of the most simple things like flying carpets, cobras, and a lot of stuff to make the client happy. And you make drawings that doesn't really make any sense at all, because every one of you can see that this building cannot be built. But just making images, so they think that this is going to be great. Here you can see the city. Nothing happened. This development was in the Emirates in 2006, and when the big, luckily we should say maybe, 2008 we got the worldwide financial crisis, and then everything grounded for this was disappeared. So you know, this is 10 opera houses in size, commercial, residential, museum, everything. And I just wanted to show you a very quick video of the project.
Vì
Sometimes it's interesting how Sami music from Norway can go together with an Arabic project in the Middle East. I would skip this one because I would like to continue here. This is the mountain SNØHETTA in the mountain area called Dovre in the middle of Norway. The company has a trip to this mountain every year. And we do something called Dovre conversation, where we discuss matters of the office, where all members of the office from all over the world comes together, hike together. And the reason why I show you this is also because we have made a small little project, which is our most published project. And this is the computer model. This is the robot in the office making different kinds of proposals. This is how it fits into a metal box. And then you have to find a supplier. I was talking earlier to someone today that now carpenters can't do anything, but boat builders can. So we contacted the boat builder that started to make this design feasible. With some help from a machine, and then a lot of noise, and you need to find a truck. The box is already there. You put it together. It's up in the mountains, and here you are, looking at the landscape and the wildlife, and you can enjoy the scenery. It's open always. You have to walk there, so you have to be able to walk. Here is a happy company inside the little viewpoint, celebrating itself. And the scenery can also enjoy you. So these reindeer are actually what you can see. They look at you and you can look at them. And that's the purpose of the whole thing. These reindeers were made more than 15,000 years ago, and they were found on a wall in a cave in France, in Lascaux, in 1940. In 1963, they had to close the cave because it was destroyed by humidity, and they have decided to make a replica. So we won a competition just a few years ago, making a true 100% replica of the cave. So it's a museum in Lascaux, which is in the landscape, and it's a replica also of all the paintings made by French artists, and it's 100% because it's a 3D scan of the original cave, and it's produced to make a new one inside this this museum. And you can walk as you could in the old cave without destroying anything. And it goes from one to the other in a safe way, both as spectator and also for the cave. And there you can see it in the far back. A lot of small museums has been made by SNØHETTA up through the years. This is a museum, you know, there are famous priests. We have a famous priest in Norway, Petter Dass, and this is his farm and his church, and they wanted a museum. And they had argued a lot to put a museum in this site because of the historical buildings. And we decided that we could remove parts of the mountain and put the project in between. And they accepted and thought that this was a good idea. And here you have the visitor center of Petter Dass up in the north of Norway. Down to smaller scale project. There is a jazz festival in Kongsberg outside Oslo every year, and they wanted to have a signature scene. And it's partly blown up and a construction which were designed without any idea of how to build. But then we contacted an Italian circus tent producer, which said that this is possible, we can make it. So they made this one. And it's inspired obviously by jazz music and this thing. And there it goes. And it takes a week to put up and 2 days to take down every year on Plaza in Kongsberg. And here you see when you have musicians inside. 1,100 people was meant to be under this roof, but the festival has grew and there's a lot of people there. There is, the government in Norway is the biggest client, and they have a very special program for tourist road projects. It means that they emphasize on small, really small projects. We won one of them. This is actually a restroom or a toilet, you can call it, because it's a special place. So a lot of tourists come there, and then they make this arrangement for more comfortable visits. This is the smallest, I think, the smallest commission ever for SNØHETTA. It was a lady calling, and we have a very, that's an advice. You have to have someone really clever to take the phone. And Hege, which is a very clever woman, took the phone, and the client asked, do you design fountains? Yes, of course. We design fountains. We have a fountain designer. Suddenly Rainer, a guy in the office, was a fountain designer, so he took the phone, and he was very excited because the lady talked a lot about the fountain and how important it was for her. And it was, after the phone call, we understood that it was a fountain for her cat. But then it was too late. We had already said yes to the commission, and we tried to make the project bigger. And then we said, if you could make the other neighbors a garden, we can make the fountain. So actually, she finally made a big garden. I want to end this talk about sustainability, because now it's impossible to make projects. I was showing the Dasselkaima project more than 10 years back. You cannot make projects like that anymore. Climate change and sustainability is making that impossible. We made a consortium of different producers and clients to make the powerhouse group to really explore how to produce buildings that make buildings that produce more energy than it used. So this is a refitting of an office which now produces more energy than it used. And this has been a concept that we have been also developed for new buildings, and big buildings and small buildings. This is now a new building coming up in the middle of Norway, a large office building, also focused on the same thing. And we also make private houses, producing more energy than it uses. And this is a prototype of that. And I go fast now because I will finish. This is also an incredible project. This is a hotel in Sweden, up in the treetop. And it's seen from below, which is a mirror, so you can't really discover it. But if you go up there, you can enjoy this. Spectacular views in the Swedish nature. And this is, together with the big project that SNØHETTA makes, make the office vibrant and keep it alive. This is industrial produced cabin, which can be up in the mountains or down by the sea on the west coast. And the good thing about being a designer in Norway is that weather conditions really put you on the toe, because this is a private cabin really high up in the mountains, a small one made to stand the harsh climate, and it's made to mainly, in the both summer season and winter season, enjoy the scenery, and you do it from the inside. Because wintertime, it looks like this. So you come up summertime and you find this one. Wintertime, it's like this. And we have conditions like this most of the time. I would like to finalize the projects by showing this. Property developer wanted to make an effort for bees. So he asked us to design a house for bees. So this is the SNØHETTA design for bees, and I think it's the building with most habitants that we have ever made. I don't know how many thousands there's inside, but a very interesting project, and he placed these on top of his roof in his office. And here they are, flying in and out. I will, if I have time, show you a small video of the office. I don't know if anyone are keeping the time. Is it okay? So then I find it. Just 1 second.